Well, the teams coming out onto the park here at Craven Park this afternoon. Bradford Northern out first, but the team news this afternoon for Barrow: number 1 Graham Petchen, number 2 John McTurk, number 3 Roy Robinson, number 4 Pat Traynor, number 5 Phil Everett, number 6 Phil Atkinson, number 7 Mike Kavanagh, number 8 Bob Eccles, number 9 Andy Ruane, number 10 Piers Brent, number 11 Chris Honey, 12 Stuart Rhodes, and at 13 Anthony Singleton. Number 14 is Derek Hadley, and at number 15 Sam Hansen. And Bradford with quite a few changes after that thrashing at St Helens last week. Derek Fox and Paul Newlove missing, but the Bradford team this afternoon: number 1 Roger Simpson, back after breaking that arm 4 or 5 weeks ago. Number 2 Richard Darks coming on the wing, 3 Daddle Shelford, 4 Steve McGowan, 5 Brian McKebby, number 6 Neil Summers. In at scrum half today is number 7 Dave Watson, number 8 David Hobbs, once again a player returning from injury, 9 Trevor Clark, 10 Roy Powell, 11 Paul Dixon, 12 Carl Fairbank, and at number 13 Paul Medley. 14 John Hamer this afternoon, and at number 15 Adam Greenwood. And the man in the middle this afternoon, not very far to travel, Steve Nicholson. He's the referee for this afternoon's game from Cumbria. Well, quite a few players back in the Bradford side, as I say, notably David Hobbs after that injury, that knee operation he had, and Roger Simpson coming back in after breaking an arm. Well, we've got a beautiful afternoon here at Craven Park. Bradford team coach left Odsal this morning at 9 o'clock, and as we got on the outskirts of Barrow, what did we run into but 7 coaches of Bradford Northern supporters, so that'll help to swell the crowd here at Craven Park this afternoon. And of course, all due to Bradford Northern by subsidising the coach fare, that long haul up to Barrow this afternoon. Of course, it's Regal Trophy Day today, and Bradford Northern in that final last year when we had that thrilling match at Elland Road against Wigan, and unlucky to lose to Wigan. It'll be Northern to kick off, and the coin was being tossed up in the dressing room. Who's going to be goal kicking this afternoon in the absence of Derek Fox? Of course, there's David Hobbs. That can kick goals, but Hobbs, with that operation on the knee, might decide to hand it to somebody else, possibly Richard Darks or maybe even Steve McGowan. But Neil Summers about to start this second round of the Regal Trophy. Good long ball, deep. That's well taken there by Singleton as he looks to dance and dive out. And Nigel Stevenson in the dressing room beforehand, giving the instructions to Bradford that need to get among Barrow very, very early, keep the tackling up. Barrow coming driving with the big forwards, but the Bradford spotters out there as the big number 12, Stuart Rhodes, haul to ground. Barrow coming up the short side, but Daddle Shelford in on the tackle there from the acting halfback. Little dart there by Mike Kavanagh, but the Bradford tackling machine up there, and referee signalling the 5th tackle. Kavanagh puts a long ball down the park, and Roger Simpson's first touch of the ball as Simpson sets off, brings the ball out of his own 20-metre area, Dave Watson from acting halfback. Watson electing to go on his own, looking to get out of the tackle. That's a long ball over the top to Roger Simpson. As Simpson straightens up, tries to burst through the tackle, but he's hauled down there by Stuart Rhodes as David Hobbs takes the drive up. That's good running by the Bradford prop. Bradford working the ball towards that halfway line. Dixon on the charge. Dixon stepping out of one. Interception there as Dave Watson came, and mistake there by Paul Dixon as Watson was coming for that ball, but well read by Barrow. So it's Barrow back in possession as Petcher coming up from that full-back position, but he's hauled down well there by Carl Fairbank. Barrow with the little move on. Anthony Singleton, a good driving run there by the Barrow loose forward. Barrow once again with a sleight of hand behind the play of the ball, and Trevor Clark just missing the tackle there, but a wall of Bradford defences. Barrow get inside that 20-metre area of the Bradford half, is putting a long ball out. That's a good ball there. And that ball coming out, but referee giving a penalty there. Looks as though it's against Paul Medley. Pulling the ball out, so a chance for Barrow to open their account this afternoon. That's inside the 20-metre area, just to the right-hand side of the uprights. And Mike Kavanagh, the man entrusted with that first penalty attempt. And still the spectators coming in the ground, the fans moving from one end to the other, the Bradford contingent obviously going to cheer the team on this afternoon after that long hike up from West Yorkshire, as Kavanagh prepares to take the kick. Hits the ball, that's bounced back off the post, and Bradford on the ball, but the ball's still loose, but referee finally going to call the knock on there. It was knocked on first. Roy Powell just couldn't take advantage. So let's see who the referee's given the ball to. It's head and ball to Bradford Northern as Dave Watson, the ball in the scrum out onto Neil Summers as Summers takes that first drive, but good spotting there by the Barrow standoff, Phil Atkinson. Northern need the forwards now to drive this ball out of that 20-metre areas. David Hobbs, the ball over the top to Dixon. Dixon just shimmies, spinning round there, looking for a supporting player as Hobbs once again the ball out to Watson. Watson selling the dummy, slips a nice ball inside to Roy Powell, but Powell looking to offload, gets the ball away to Watson as Watson one over the top as Northern moving the ball. Roger Simpson drops the ball off nicely to Kebby, but Kebby into the cover there. Carl Fairbank on the drive as the chant goes up from behind the post. Northern. The ball back to Watson as Watson puts a good long ball down into the Barrow 22, and that ball going to find touch. Quite a strong winning wind blowing left to right this afternoon, so Northern with that initial advantage of the wind, and Dave Watson finding a good touch there. But that's, of course, head and ball to Barrow as Bradford looking to get the drive on, but Barrow coming up with the ball safely. With Graham Petcher, just takes that first drive up. Barrow forwards full of running, making good yardage at the Bradford defence as they work the ball into the centre of the field. Trevor Clark in there with a good tackle, and referee there giving a penalty. Just couldn't see what that was for. A quick tap there by Barrow. It looked like laying on in the tacklers. Andy Ruane took that quick tap that bring Barrow up towards that halfway line, but Paul Dixon in there with a good tackle on Stuart Rhodes as Barrow switched the ball inside, but once again the tacklers up to the job so far, but Kavanagh, nice little break there by Kavanagh, looking for somebody coming support him, but nobody backing him up there. Little dummy there by the hooker Ruane around that play of the ball, and referee signalling the last tackle for Barrow. Barrow worked the ball well, as good high ball up towards Richard Darks. Darks made a little mistake then, and Bradford lucky to get that ball, as that ball came off of Darks, and it was Daryl Shelford who got back, as Roger Simpson comes away from Acton Harper. That's a good ball out to Watson, and a high tackle there on Dave Watson, as Watson offloaded that ball to Roger Simpson. A break on there for Bradford, but referee Steve Nicholson calls a halt to the play for that high tackle on Dave Watson. So Neil Summers puts a good ball into touch on the halfway line. Set of 6 now more for Bradford to look to open the account. They wanted early points on the board this afternoon, as Powell takes the first drive up. Watson in at the first man on the distribution, offloads the ball to Dixon. Good charging run there by Paul Dixon. David Hobbs looking, turning, drops the ball off to Summers, but Summers well tackled there, and the ball taken off him there by his opposing number 6 Phil Atkinson. So it's Barrow back in possession. Barrow working the ball out as Summers effects a good tackle there. Once again Summers in, and that's intercepted by David Hobbs as that ball popped out. Medley onto Watson. Watson drops the ball. Nice ball off to Shelford. Shelford looking for the supporting Watson. Watson dances out of one, straightens up again as Watson up to the 20-metre mark, looking for supporting players, but that's good running by the Bradford scrum half, as Northern on the charge now with Fairbank. Good ball out, and out once again, a little bit of a high tackle, but referee not stopping play for that. Last tackle signal by the referee as Watson puts the little ball, the little grubber kick on the floor. That's Steve McGowan, and Daryl Shelford it was who scored the try there. Nice little angle kick through by Dave Watson, and Daryl Shelford up there very, very quickly to pounce on that ball and get Bradford Northern's first try. We played some 8 minutes in this first half. So a good try there. Nice little work move by Dave Watson, taking over the mantle of Derek Fox at scrum half this afternoon, and nice little angle kick on that 6th tackle, and Shelford very, very quickly gets the first try for Northern. So Summers just settles himself down, slots the ball between the posts. So 9 minutes into this game, it's Barrow 2, Bradford Northern 6. So the first real attack there for Bradford Northern, first time they got inside that 20-metre area, and as the PA announcer there, trying the Odsal roar, trying to whip his home supporters into roaring Barrow on, but I think the Bradford contingent this afternoon outweigh the Barrow supporters, as long ball out. That ball offloaded by Roger Simpson to Dixon, and good driving run by Dixon up to the 20-metre area. Brimmer Kebby from the acting halfback. Kebby sells a little dummy, straightens up, but makes 15, 20 yards. Watson in again on the distribution, but that ball missed down, swept up at the back there by Roger Simpson, and Simpson doing well there to pick that ball up as Hobbs straightens up, turns the back, looks to offload, but well tackled there. Summers with the ball uptown. That's a good angle kick by Neil Summers, and that finds touch midway between the halfway and the Barrow 25. But of course the head and ball to Barrow. Northern with a better pack out this week than last week at St Helens, as Barrow come up with the ball there, and John Matry there taking a little bit of a high tackle, and it looks like Carl Fairbank, who's been singled out there for that high tackle. And referee Steve Nicholson saying it was a flailing arm, so Barrow popped the ball into touch on the halfway line. A set of 6 more for Barrow. Barrow forwards using the intricate little passing, nice little sleight of hand around the play of the ball. That's a good driving run there by Stuart Rhodes, but Rhodes well wrapped up by Roy Powell and Steve McGowan on that far side. Kavanagh, the long ball out, little run round as Kavanagh sells the dummy, but he's wrapped up by Dave Watson as looking to prize a gap in the Bradford defence. Referee making sure the players are 10 metres. That's a good ball and into the gap, but a good tackle there by Neil Summers as Pat Traynor plays the ball to himself, chips the ball over the top. Trainor's got some speed, but Roger Simpson just gets there before him. That was good play by the Barrow centre, Pat Traynor. Hadn't got a marker, so played that ball very, very quickly and chipped the ball over the Bradford defence, but speedy Roger Simpson back there just to boot the ball dead, so it'll be a drop out underneath the post to Bradford Northern, but Barrow putting a little bit of pressure on after that Bradford try. That's a bad drop out by Neil Summers as Anthony Singleton elects to go up the short side. So Barrow on the drive again with John McTry, but he's hauled down just 2 or 3 yards short of that Northern line. Once again, the little sleight of hand, the ball out to the big prop Bob Eccles, but Eccles well wrapped up and the ball coming out there. Referee once again giving a penalty. That was on the intervention of the linesman. The linesman saw that ball pulled out, so once again a chance for Kavanagh to reduce the arrears by a further 2 points. An easy kickable position there with that penalty. Indiscipline there by the Bradford players. So Kavanagh from a similar position to his first penalty attempt, the one that hit the post. Pushing the ball out wide, so obviously Barrow in need of a goal kicker. It's still Barrow 0, Bradford Northern 6 as we come up to 15 minutes gone on the stopwatch. So it's Bradford to restart with Dave Watson. That's a better drop out this time by Watson. A good high ball, but well taken by Kavanagh inside his own half as Kavanagh sets off, but hauled down there by Carl Fairbank on the halfway line along with Paul Dixon. Good solid tackle there by Roy Powell. Piers Brent, big forward, driving in, but 3 Bradford defenders, Powell, Fairbank and Medley haul him down as Barrow worked the short side, but Summers in with a good tackle again on the fullback there, Petcher, as Barrow looking to move the ball out across the park. A little bit shallow there with Barrow and ended up in all sorts of trouble as the Bradford defence was up very, very quickly. We're on the last tackle signal by the referee. Little chip over the top there by Kavanagh, and that finds touch on the 10-metre mark. So Barrow had the better of the territorial play in this opening 15 minutes. But it's that one try to Daddle Shelford and the Neil Summers goal. With that scoreline, Barrow 0, Bradford 6, as Bradford get the ball out from the scrum with Summers straightening up. Dave Watson in acting half back onto Medley. Medley, good tackle on Medley as Medley was looking to go around the outside. Trevor Clark from acting halfback. Drops the ball inside to Watson. Steve McGowan in the clear. McGowan up over halfway. Good running by McGowan. And of course, the last time Barrow were visitors to Odsal, Steve McGowan with that record, 6 tries. But it's Bradford on the attack now as Summers on to Dixon. Dixon out to Darks, Richard Darks. But Bradford a little bit shallow there. The player's a little bit short coming up. But Northern move the ball out again as Daryl Shelford straightens up, spins round. Last tackle signal by the referee, so Northern with David Hobbs. Hobbs, the long ball out to McGowan. That's a good ball. Dropped inside to Kebby. Kebby dancing about. Kebby straightening up, going towards the post, but that's the 6th tackle. Probably Kebby didn't realise, so that'll be the handover, but enterprising play there from Northern. And a penalty given against Bradford Northern there, pushing the ball away. So Barrow take the quick tap and try to bring the forwards on running. The winger John McMurtry coming in, but he's dumped to the ground there. Once again going up the short side. Nice ball out to Chris Honey. Honey normally a back, but switched into the second row this afternoon. But that ball going to ground, but picked it by Singleton as Singleton drives the ball up towards the halfway line. Barrow looking to move the ball out as Kavanagh drops a good ball inside, but good cover there by Carl Fairbank coming across. Kavanagh puts the boot to the ball this time. That's going to bounce up in the air, but Brammer Kebby back there as Kebby just settled things down and takes the tackle. David Hobbs on to Roger Simpson. Simpson with a running chance, looking to burst through, driving up towards that halfway line. Watson on to Powell. Powell straightens up, turning his back, looking to offload, but the Barrow forwards doing a good job there, clamping man and ball. David Hobbs. Hobbs, the long ball out. It's a good ball out to Shelford. Shelford's got Darks. Switches the ball inside as trying to sell the dummy. Richard Darks went on the inside. Daryl Shelford having a good opening 20 minutes in this game as Northern moved the ball out. Dave Watson across the park. That was a good ball laid off to Fairbank, but referee saying a knock on there as Fairbank just couldn't pick that ball up. Steve McGowan coming in and picking it up, but referee halting play there for a knock on, so it'll be head and ball to Barrow. The ball out of the scrum with Barrows coming across the park. The number 3 there, Roy Robinson, but hauled down by Steve McGowan and Daryl Shelford as Barrow work the short side again. Good tackle on Phil Everett there by Richard Darks, and a mistake by Barrow. Medley on the loose ball there, so Bradford back in possession as Hobbs, the long ball out to Steve McGowan. McGowan gave the ball a little bit early to Kebby there, but Kebby just stops and tries to start to flip through a gap, but hauled down as Hobbs takes the drive up again. Up to the Barrow 20-metre mark. Roy Powell. Powell, 3 Barrow forwards there to pull him down. Watson, the little switch on to Fairbank, but Fairbank, nice little pass over the top of Dave Watson. Finds the gap. Watson going for the corner. Dave Watson gets the ball down in the corner. That's a good try by Dave Watson, and a little bit of a hoo-ha in the field there as Watson danced and danced about, and the strength of the Northern scrum half going over in the corner for Bradford's second try of the afternoon. So Barrow to restart, and of course Barrow were down in West Yorkshire last week, made the trip to Dewsbury, and Dewsbury inflicted a heavy defeat on them as Paul Dixon charging up from that pass by Dave Watson. Powell forwards sharing the work out this afternoon as David Hobbs takes the drive up again, knocks one off, switches the ball inside to Neil Summers. Summers just cutting back inside into the waiting cover there, but good into passing once again by Norden as the ball out to Watson. Watson drops the ball off to Fairbank. Fairbank in the clear. Fairbank's got Trevor Clark up there with him. Medley was on the outside, but Medley well covered, but good driving run by the Bradford forwards as Watson, the ball over the top to Simpson. Simpson straightens up, gets the ball back inside to Watson. Watson dancing about again. This time is hauled to the ground by Chris Honey as the referee signals the last tackle. David Hobbs. Hobbs puts the high ball. That's a good high ball. It's swirling about. The ball bouncing and Paul Dixon in there very, very quickly, but that'll be a drop out under the post. That ball bounced back inside and Carl Fairbank it was, not Paul Dixon, that followed that kick up. So the pressure back on Barrow. That's a good drop out up to the halfway line over the top of Watson as Kebby picks the ball up, sets off back towards those Barrow posts, evades one. That's good running by Brian McKebby, putting Bradford in another good attacking position. David Hobbs. Hobbs straightening up, offloads that ball, just hitting Trevor Clark on the knee there as Hobbs offloaded that ball. And a penalty once again against Bradford Norden. Somebody saying something to the referee, and obviously a Cumbrian referee, so he may be a little bit biased this afternoon, but Bradford need to keep that discipline. So Barrow take the drive up again with Piers Brent. It's big burly, prop forward. Chris Honey driving in, offloads a good ball. That's good play by Barrow, switching that ball inside, but a good tackle there by Paul Medley as the cover came across, but Barrow dropping this ball inside again. Once again Traynor with that ball over the top as Barrow get a try in the corner. Once again it was Pat Traynor chipping that ball over the top. The Bradford backs all out of position. And Barrow get a try in the corner. Humiliating defeat at St Helens last Sunday. Two Barrow players leaving the ball there, but the winger coming from deep as that ball looked as though it was going to find touch. Barrow playing some entertaining football, keeping that ball alive and not in awe of the First Division opponents this afternoon. Kavanagh switching the ball as Trevor Clark. That's a good tackle by the Norden hooker. Nice little darting run from the play of the ball and losing that ball there. The standoff, Phil Atkinson throws the ball away in disgust as he spun round there to try and get out of the clutches of Roy Power, but referee on the spot. And Roger Simpson coming onto the wing. I just wonder if he's feeling a little bit with that arm injury as Dave Watson gets the ball from, straightens up, tries to go through the middle of the pack there. Richard Dark's gone to full back for Norden. So Bradford working the short side with David Hobbs. Hobbs dipping the shoulder, got out of one tackle but just lost his footing there on that 20-metre mark. Medley driving towards the post. Medley getting the handoff going, but three Barrow players quickly encompass Paul Medley as Roy Powell straightens up, but good tackling by Barrow to keep the Northern attack out. Long ball out to Watson. Watson gets the ball over the top to Fairbank. Fairbank with a bit of a wild pass there, and that ball, Steve McGowan not able to take it, the ball going to ground and picked up there by Roy Robinson. So Norden back on defence now, need to keep Barrow in that 25 area as Barrow come driving out with the forwards again. Kavanagh offloads the ball to the number 8. Once again a penalty for holding down there. It's Carl Fairbank again, and this is probably the second time that the referees had a word with Carl Fairbank. David Hobbs, skipper this afternoon, just going over and having a word with the referee. So once again it'll be a free kick to Barrow. Take the quick tap instead of going for position up the field, as Barrow dropped the ball inside, as Neil Summers on the ball and Steve McGowan up very, very quickly. And Summers, that little inside reverse pass that's split the Bradford defence a little bit this afternoon, as Barrow come driving again. Fullback linking in there, Graham Petcher, but Petcher's hauled down by David Hobbs. Kavanagh the long ball out as Bob Eccles props, but no way through the tackle of Paul Dixon there. And of course Bob Eccles, one of the stalwarts of the game. Been in the game a lot of years. Last tackle signalled by the referee as the ball chipped over the top, as Richard Darks just takes his time, picks that ball up and brings the ball out across the park. Darks with the accelerator pedal down, straightens up now. That's good running by Richard Darks to relieve that ball, as Daryl Shelford brings the ball down the short side. Good strong running by Shelford. Couldn't just offload the ball there to Roger Simpson. And a penalty to Bradford Northern there. Holding down, or referees giving it the other way on the intervention of the touch judge. And David Hobbs going and asking the question again. It looked as though Shelford wasn't allowed to play the ball there, but the touch judge. And Barrow about to make a substitution. The number 8 Bob Eccles going off the park, and Sam Hansen coming on. So Hansen comes on the park for Eccles, and Bradford a little bit of a grieve there at that penalty against Daryl Shelford. So it's a set of 6 now for Barrow, as Piers Brent takes the drive up. Bradford holding the big player up and finally get him into touch, and that's good tackling by Bradford Northern. Daryl Shelford there just obviously aggrieved at that penalty against him, but good tackling by Bradford. So it's head and ball to Bradford as Dave Watson comes out with the ball from the back of the scrum, going across the centre of the park, but hauled down well there by Pat Traynor. Neil Summers switches the ball down the short side. Powell straightens up, dips the shoulder. The 3 Barrow defenders in very, very quickly round Big Roy. Watson on to Dixon. Dixon switches the ball to Fairbank. Fairbank straightening up, but Fairbank just ankle tap there as David Hobbs once again puts a good ball into the Barrow half of the field, and that finding touch. And Roger Simpson there just clenching that fist. That arm well protected after that break, and of course it's Roger's first game back. Bradford with the drive on, but Barrow come up with the ball. It's Phil Everett coming inside from the wing. Hansen, first touch of the ball. This big looks a little bit like a Maori to me, does Hansen, as the ball switched inside, as Petcher coming, linking up from that fullback position. Stuart Rhodes, a good drive there up towards the halfway line. Kavanagh looks to get his players going. Kavanagh offloads. That's good running. And into the clear goes Roy Robinson. He's only got the full-back to beat, and that's a good tackle there by Richard Dark to try saving tacklers. Barrow on the last tackle, the long ball over the top, and Brian McKebby intercepts there. Kebby sets off. Kebby going the full length of the field. They won't catch Brian McKebby. goes in underneath the post, and that's a try out of nothing for Bradford Northern. It was Barrow that were on the attack. A good run by Robinson. That ball flipped over the top. No knock on. Brian McKebby picking that ball up and going a full 80 yards of this Craven Park. Gets a good try under the post for Bradford Northern. I make it 35 minutes gone on the stopwatch, but Kebby showing the pace as the cover came across and just managed to step out of that last-ditch tackle and strolling under the post for a good Bradford Northern try. So Summers just settling himself down. Chips the ball between the posts, so a further 2 points for Bradford Northern. It's Barrow 4, Bradford Northern 16. 3 tries, 2 goals. So 2 balls on the park there as that conversion by Neil Summers going over the top of the stand. So Kavanagh to restart from the centre spot. That's a good long ball down towards Paul Dixon. Dixon just lets the ball bounce once, sets off at pace, dips the shoulder, but a good tackle there by Anthony Singleton as Northern come driving away with the ball. Watson onto Powell. Powell dips the shoulder, but good spotting by Barrow as Trevor Clark from the acting half-back offloads to David Hobbs. Hobbs straightens up, turns the back. That ball went back. Surely that ball went back, but referee giving a knock on there as David Hobbs offloaded that ball to Trevor Clark. Clark was facing his own post, but referee Steve Nicholson saying knock on, so it'd be head and ball to Barrow. Possibly the last says Bradford get the drive on. Medley out of the pack very, very quickly, but referee saying that ball went straight through the tunnel. So Northern once again looking to get the big push on as this time the ball into the second rows. Trainer straightens up again. Good running by Trainer. And a chance for Barrow, and they're not going to catch the number 2, John McMurtry, but once again it was Pat Trainer, the centre, that switched the ball, moved the ball inside, and McMurtry got a good try there for Barrow. Good psychological time for Barrow to score as we come up to that half-time hooter. And the goal-kicking duties now been given to Andy Ruane. Kavanagh missing 3 kicks at goal with that chip over the top. And Pat Trainer, the man that's caused the problems for Bradford Northern, as once again with 2 balls on the park. And referee there just showing his prowess as a kicker of the rugby ball as Neil Summers once again puts the ball down, and that going over the top there of Singleton, but picked up at the back. David Hobbs in there very, very quickly on the tackle. Hansen drives it, but well wrapped up there by Paul Medley. There was a marker there, and that'll be a penalty to Bradford Northern. 2 markers were there as Hansen tapped that ball, played it towards himself, set off up the park, but Bradford had the 2 markers in. So a penalty to Bradford Northern for not playing the ball. And Neil Summers electing to go for goal. as we come up to the 40th minute on the clock. A 2:30 kick-off here at Craven Park this afternoon, but a lovely, bright, sunny afternoon. So Summers, 30 yards directly in front of the post. Slots the ball between the posts, so a further 2 points for Bradford Northern. It's Barrow 8, Bradford Northern 18. Ten-point lead for Northern as we approach that half-time hooter. So Kavanagh to get the game underway as that ball over the top there as Watson just palms the ball down, picked up by Brian McKebby as Kebby sets off again, ducks under the tackle, but the half-time hooter goes. So Bradford Northern in that first half, it was the opening try by Daddle Shelford, then a good try by Dave Watson, Brian McKebby getting a try, Neil Summers 2 goals and a penalty, but Bradford not really clicked into gear in this first half. So the half-time score from Craven Park, Barrow 8, Bradford Northern 18. Just having a look to see if all the players are the same. I can't spot Roger Simpson. He was carrying that arm a little bit towards the back end of the second half, and it looks like, yeah, Adam Greenwood on at number 15 in place of Roger Simpson, and it'll be Paul Medley going onto that wing berth that Roger occupied towards the back end of that first half as Roy Powell takes the ball from the kick-off there. Good drive by Big Roy, and Bradford need to step up a gear in this second half, put some points on the board as Paul Dixon charging in, spinning around, trying to burst the tackle. Greenwood first touch of the ball, and a little bit of a high tackle there as Trevor Clark there appealed as well, threw his arms in the air as so Watson with the quick tap. Trevor Clark straightening up, but Clark's held on the halfway line. So David Hobbs driving once again, spins, gets a good ball out to Greenwood as Greenwood straightens up, tries to burst through, but just hauled down by the Barrow defence. Dixon, good strong running by Dixon. It's 4 tackles by Bradford Northern. Northern need to work the ball out now as Watson, the ball out to Summers looking for the gap, but good tackle there on Neil Summers as Summers tried to go through that gap. Trevor Clark from acting halfback to Dave Watson, drops the little ball off to Powell. Powell steps out of one. Powell looking to offload the ball around his man, but it's the last tackle signal now by the referee as Trevor Clark brings it down the short side. Watson once again, the little chip through there for Kebby. Dixon up very, very quickly and brings the Barrowman just inside field of play there as Bradford looking to take them back as Kebby, a flying tackle there on the fullback Petcher. Northern driving the Barrow forwards back, trying to drive them over that try line, so it'll be a drop out as Northern with the pressure on. This is better tackling by Bradford Northern in the opening minutes of this second half. That's the last tackle signal by the referee, and Barrow not moved out of that 10-metre areas. Now the kick goes over the top, and Medley a long way to go back as Richard Darks stopping back well at fullback as Darks sets off towards the halfway line, gets out of one. Good running by Richard again to get that ball back into the Barrow half. So Bradford with another set of sixes. Medley coming on the charge, coming off the wing there. Makes another 10-15 yards. Fairbank straightens up, drops the ball back inside. It's Medley again. Bradford moving the ball out, but Dixon electing to straighten up. Northern keeping this ball alive as Summers over to McGowan. McGowan drops a nice ball inside to Kebby. Kebby straightens up. Bradford keeping this ball going as Fairbank onto Watson. Watson dancing about. Watson to Kebby. That's a forward pass signal there by the referee as Northern. That ball like a hot potato there. Must have gone through 10, 12 pairs of hands to keep that ball going, but final pass there from Dave Watson to Broma Kebby forward. So down we go to scrum. It'd be head and ball to Barrow as Barrow come away with the ball again, and once again a high tackle signalled by the referee as the Bradford players push Carl Fairbank away. So referee Nicholson been very, very keen on this high tackle this afternoon as that ball finding touch on the halfway line. Barrow come driving again with Piers Brent, but Steve McGowan in with a good tackle. Kavanagh, the ball out. Carl Fairbank in with a good body check there, and Roy Powell round the legs. Fairbank trying to hook at the ball there, but that should have been back to 6. Referee not sure, looked at his linesman as Kavanagh gets out of one, but this time Kavanagh picked up and dumped on the floor by Paul Dixon. Barrow coming driving again with Pat Traynor, but Traynor's hauled down this time. Little dummy from behind the play of the ball as they loose forward coming in there. Just checked by David Hobbs. So it's Barrow trying to work that ball inside the Bradford 20-metre mark. Good tackle there on the number 3 Roy Robinson as referee must have wiped that back to 6. As if not, Barrett's had about 8 tackles, but this time he signals the last tackle. That ball into no man's land, but well taken there by Richard Darks. Caught on the full inside his in-goal area, so that'll come back to the 25 as Northern take a quick tap as Adam Greenwood tries to get the handoff going, but hauled down there by the hooker, Andy Ruane. David Hobbs straightens up. Hobbs makes a good 5-6 yards towards that halfway line. Roy Powell. So Bradford working the short side again with Daddle Shelford. Shelford steps inside, straightens up, but a good tackle there by Phil Atkinson on Daddle Shelford as Shelford trying to get up and play that ball. Powell coming across the defence. Had Steve McGowan coming up at pace there, but just couldn't offload that ball as the last tackle signalled by the referee as Hobbs puts a good high ball and Summers underneath that ball, and a little bit of a mix-up there in the Barrow defence, but good work there by the full-back Petcher as Neil Summers looked to have him covered, but Petcher getting out of the tacklers. 3-4 Bradford defenders there going on McMurtry. Everett trying to bring the ball away, but he's halted by Dave Watson in the centre of the park. Hanson's hauled down, tackled by Neil Summers, and Bradford pull for offside. So once again a quick tap there by Kavanagh, catching the Bradford defence unawares as Daddle Shelford effected a good tackle there on Kavanagh. Shelford once again, that's good play by the Bradford centre as Barrow looked to move the ball across the park. Piers Brent, but no way through there for this big prop forward. Barrow with the little sleight of hand, and this time they get out of the tackle, and Medley with the interception there. If Medley had let that ball go, it looked to be a forward pass, but Northern about to make a substitution. It's Carl Fairbank coming off the park and John Hamer coming on, so Roy Powell will drop into that second row and John Hamer go up to the customary number 10 position that he normally wears the shirt. And I think a wise move there by Peter Fox. Fairbank been warned a couple of times for the high tackle as Barrow get the good ball over the top. Kebby pulls his man down. That's good tackling by Kebby. McMurtry, a lot bigger than Kebby, but Kebby effecting the tackle well as Neil Summers hauls down Robinson as Barrow go on the attack again. Hansen straightening up. Barrow coming back into that Bradford half of the field. The long ball out this time. That's good ball out as dummy soul there by Atkinson, but Atkinson finally wrapped up by Dave Watson. Kavanagh looking to get the players going again. The little chip over the top this time. Trevor Clark finally relieves the situation there as John Hamer tried to go down on that ball as Richard Darks coming away from acting half-pass. Intelligent play by the youngster in that full-back position as Kebby from acting half-back, but Kebby's hauled down there by Singleton. Hamer will do the job. He'll drive the ball up. 3 tackles for Bradford Northern. They're still in their own half of the field as Powell offloads to Dixon. Dixon sells the dummy, spins round. Dixon straightens up. Probably been better just to offload that ball then, would Paul Dixon, but 5th tackle signal by the referee as David Hobbs puts a good ball down into the Barrow half of the field, and that's going to find touch right on the corner flag. So a good kick by David Hobbs, but we'll come back out to scrum on that 10-metre mark. And the head and ball, obviously, to Barrow.
26, Wakefield 12.
So down we go to scrum, and a little bit of a roar goes up there that Carlisle beating Wakefield Trinity a little bit further up the road from where we are this afternoon. But it's Barrow trying to bring the ball away from the acting half-back there. Good strong running there by the forwards. Referee wanting to pull the Bradford players back as this time the kick over the top, and Richard Darks a long chase back for that ball. Picks the ball up safely inside his own 20-metre area. Good strong running once again by Darks as looked as though he'd half broken the tackle, but finally hauled to ground as Medley coming in off the wing. Medley straightens up, but pulled down there by Hansen, by the shorts. Hamer up to the halfway line, looking for supporting players, but nobody with him there to offload that ball to John Hamer, not renowned for passing, but Trevor Clark from acting halfback. Nice little ball onto Greenwood. Greenwood stumbles this time, but finally hauled down. Watson with Hobbs. Hobbs straightens up again. Hobbs running towards the post, but once again it's the last tackle signal by the referee. Steve McGowan at acting halfback gets the ball to Watson. Watson with little chip over the top. That's picked up well at the back there by Andy Ruane, and gets the winger going, Phil Everett, but no way through for Everett as Barrow come again with the fullback Petcher. Use the fullback quite a lot to Barrow, bringing him up into the attack. That looked suspicion of forward pass, but referee saying no forward pass there as Petcher had to really stretch to get to that ball as Hansen goes driving up to the halfway line. Good tackle there by Shelford and Medley, and Hamer it was, and a bad mistake there. That was a bad pass from the acting halfback, the number 11 Chris Honey, just not able to take that ball. So the head and ball going to Bradford Northern, and a substitution for Barrow. It's the Piers bench going off, and Bob Eccles coming back into the phrase. Northern work the short side with Dave Watson, but Watson just hauled down Greenwood. Greenwood makes a good 10-15 yards. Summers straightening up, finds the gap. Neil Summers straightens up, knocks one off, knocks two off, gets the ball out, and just couldn't take the final pass there. It was Daddle Shelford. Summers had done the hard work as McGowan going across the park there and brings the Barrow men to ground. So Bradford, that final ball just going down as Hanson once again driving the ball out, but his progress halted there by David Hobbs. Stuart Rhodes on the ball now, but Hobbs in again with the tackle. Barrow trying to keep this ball alive, and John Hamer up in very, very quickly. Trevor Clark coming to help smother that ball as the last tackle signalled by the referee. Barrow electing to drop the ball out, and that picked up by Medley. Medley on the charge. Medley going up the short side. Referee playing the advantage there, so it's Bradford back in possession as Dave Watson runs at the defence. Good ball to Roy Powell, but Powell just putting that ball down as Watson had prized the gap open there for Big Roy, but those big hands of Roy Powell not able to hold that ball. So that'll be a scrum to Barrow. It's still that scoreline. Barrow 8, Bradford Northern 18. Kavanagh comes up with the ball from the scrum. Barrow looking to drive out with the forwards again, but Dixon and Greenwood in there on the tackle. Hanson driving as the crowd scream that Bradford are offside, but it's not. It's just that Bradford want to get up there quick among the Barrow attackers. That's a good tackle, but a penalty given by the referee there on Roy Powell for not laying directly behind the man playing the ball. So the penalty count very, very much in favour of Barrow here this afternoon at Craven Park. So it's Barrow with another set of sixes. Hanson drives up again, but John Hamer brings him to ground. Chris Honey on the ball. Honey gets out of one. Had a player coming supporting there in Stuart Rhodes, but just couldn't offload that ball as Barrow start to put the pressure on. Eccles back on the field. Working the short side again. Kavanagh with the little chip through, but Medley makes the mistake there, and once again a try-saving tackle, but referee saying there was a knock-on there by Barrow as Medley went down to try and pick that loose ball up, but referee going back to the first division decision there of that first knock-on, so it's head and ball to Bradford Northern, but Barrow putting good pressure on that. One against the head for Barrow, so a chance for Barrow now as Atkinson straightens up towards the post. Andy Ruane trying to drive under the Bradford defence there, and a knock on there. Once again a bad mistake around the play of the ball. The guilty man there was Singleton, who fumbling about with the ball at that play of the ball, probably a little bit overexcited, trying to get the ball out quick and just took his eye off the ball, caused the error. So it's head and ball once again to Bradford as Watson this time. It's the ball safely in the pack, comes up the short side, spins out of one. That's good driving run out by Dave Watson. Dixon coming at good pace, spinning round again. Trevor Clark from acting halfback, the ball onto Watson to John Hamer as Hamer straightens up, dips the shoulder, has the support in Summers, but Barrow doing well there too. Clamp man and ball as David Hobbs took a good ball there, looked as though he was going to put it down, offloaded to Daddle Shelford, but Shelford can't make any more progress. Watson on to Powell. Powell straightens up. Last tackle signal by the referee as Dave Watson puts the ball over the top. That's the one for the chasers. It's Neil Summers that's up there chasing as that ball goes dead on its own, but Summers was up very quickly, so that'll be a tap out to Barrow on the 25. So no scores in this second half. We played some 15 minutes of this second half of this second round of the Regal Trophy. And Barrow keeping that ball alive. 3 tacklers there as trainer once again. Had a good game for Barrow this afternoon, this blonde-haired centre. Barrow moving the ball out, and John Hamer doing a good clamping job this time, along with Adam Greenwood. On Bob Eccles, Kavanagh once again, the architect behind the scrums, as Rhodes straightened up there, pulled down on the halfway line by Hamer and Dixon, as once again it's the kick over the top, and that ball safely finding touch this time, just on the Bradford 20-metre mark. And referee signalling head and ball to Bradford Norden. Had a look at his linesman to see if that had actually hit a Bradford player, but and referee there exerting his authority, moving the players back onto the 10 as Watson gets the ball in the scrum this time. It's comes to ground, but well swept up by Summers, as Summers brushes one tackle off, brushes the second man off, but stumbling about on the floor, just couldn't get out of the clutches of the third one. Dixon steps out of one, sells the dummy. Would have been better to offload the ball there. He had players in support as Trevor Clark comes from acting halfback onto Watson. Watson, the ball to Kebby. Kebby just held with 1 foot, but Kebby gets round his man. Kebby sets off up the park. He's got the cover coming across, and that's a good tackle by Petcher on Brimmer Kebby, but Dave Watson quickly from the act drops the ball off to McGowan. McGowan straightens up. Had the supporting players, but just couldn't offload the ball. This is better by Bradford Norden now. Need to step up a gear. They're back inside the Barrow 20-metre areas. The ball goes across the park. That's a good long ball out. And a bad pass. Well picked up by Richard Darks. Darks gets away. Richard Darks goes over for a try. That was sloppy tackling by Barrow. And Richard Darks picked that ball up. It was a wild pass by Daryl Shelford, but Darks doing well to pick the ball up and brought the tackle there of the Barrow defence. And I think he was more surprised when he saw that there was nobody in front of it, set off and got a try for Bradford Norden. This week and wasn't really fit. Quite a favourite here at Barrow, so Hadley comes onto the park for Hansen. Midway through this second half, as Barrow restart the game. Long ball down to Watson, ticks the ball well, offloads to Dixon, and Dixon sets off up the park again, up the short side, knocks one off, but finally hauled down there by Stuart Rhodes as John Hamer. Good driving run by the Bradford prop. Clark onto Watson, who offloads the ball to Greenwood. Greenwood trying to go over the top there, and Hadley finally pulls him down as David Hobbs. Hobbs, a good ball out to McGowan. McGowan into space. McGowan got the handoff going, but just ankle tap there. And of course, Steve McGowan back after injury, had that foot injury, but Norden coming again with Medley. Medley up to the 20-metre mark, directly in front of the post as referee looking to get the Barrow players back on side. Watson, the long ball out to McGowan. McGowan just checks, steps inside. Watson drops the ball inside to Darks. Darks has got Kebby on the inside, but just couldn't offload the ball. And Watson, I feel, would have been better going on his own. But Watson on to Dixon. Paul Dixon, but a forward pass there as Dixon crashes over the line, and that's the handover to Barrow. So once again, the referee intervening there as Dixon really came up at pace. So Bradford need to pin Barrow now in that 25, make them kick, get possession back. Eccles makes a few valuable yards underneath the post as Barrow drive the ball out to the 20-metre mark. And the long kick over the top. That's a good kick, finding touch on that far side. So Barrow get the ball back into the Bradford half of the field, but of course that head and ball, all important. Going to Bradford Northern, we just had that one heel against the head, which is a rarity in rugby league these days, the way that the scrum halves put the ball into the scrum. So Bradford go down to pack, and once again referee saying that the pack wasn't down properly as Dave Watson popped that ball into the scrum. This time it's out. Bit of a wild pass as Summers picks it up on the bounce, spins. He got Daddle Shelford with him, but Watson once again in at the middle as Dixon straightens up, but Dixon well met there by Hadley and Singleton. Roy Powell. Powell trying to go around the outside, and the fullback Petcher up into the pack now as Summers, the little run round. Summers, beautiful dummy by Neil Summers. Summers has got Shelford on the inside, he's got Medley on the outside, but good try-saving tackle by Pat Traynor. Medley was on the outside, Shelford was on the inside, but Summers with that electrifying play. Dave Watson ducks, bobs, weaves about, drops the ball off to Shelford. Shelford trying to crawl his way over the try line. Kick across the face of the Barrow, and that's a knock-on in his own in-goal area by the Barrow defender. So once again Northern putting the pressure on. That'll be a drop out under the post there as Dave Watson chipped that little ball through. Kebby, McGowan were screaming for the ball to be kicked across to the far corner, but Watson with just that little short grubber kick as Barrow restart the game with that drop out under the post. Roy Powell picks the ball up on the halfway line, sets off towards the Barrow defence, but hauled down there by Bob Eccles and Roy Robinson. Northern working the short side with Dixon. Dixon straightens up. Dixon into space. Trevor Clark with him, and Trevor Clark's going to romp over for a good try. That was a good move there. Paul Dixon coming up at space, broke the tackle, and Trevor Clark up in support gets a good try for Northern just to the left-hand side of the uprights. Quick play of the ball there, and Dixon so effective on bursting that first tackle, and credit there to Trevor Clark up in support, and nobody to put a finger as Clark went over unopposed. So a good crowd here at Barrow, the attendance 3,668, and I just wonder how many people from Bradford have made that journey up this afternoon. There's a good presence. And of course it'll do Barrow no harm at all with good receipts from the gates. The gate receipts shared this afternoon in a cup match after expenses as Neil Summers with the conversion attempt slots the ball between the posts. So further 2 points now for Bradford Northern. 5 tries for Northern, 4 goals. And you feel that Northern have just stepped up a gear in this last 5 minutes. The little kick, not the deep one this time. That's well taken there by Adam Greenwood, as that ball was chipped short as the Barrow plays up very, very quickly. Watson onto Hamer. Hamer driving again. And of course Northern, all being well, going into that hat of the draw tomorrow. The match 4 weeks today. Northern with 3 hard games coming up over this next 3 weeks. David Hobbs drops the ball back. That's well picked up by John Hamer as Watson dancing about again. Flips the ball out of the back door. Northern keeping this ball alive. Shelford coming up pace. But Shelford's hauled down as Bradford prepared to throw this ball about. Keep the ball alive. Summers onto McGowan. McGowan steps inside. Had Summers on the outside, but just didn't offload the ball. Powell On to Hobbs. Hobbs straightens up. Hobbs with the basketball pass over the top. Trevor Clark once again, and that's a bit of a dangerous pass, and Barrow falling on the ball there as Brimakebe a little bit slow there. Thought he could have gone down on that ball as Roy Robinson fell on that loose ball, so Barrow in possession just inside their own half of the field. Hadley on the drive, gets out of the first tackle there and finally hauled to the ground by Daddle Shelford. Shelford had a good game this afternoon in defence and of course in attack, and it's Shelford again, helped by Dixon and Powell, that finally haul the Barrow number 12 Stuart Rhodes down. Kavanagh, Atkinson sells the dummy. That's a nice little ball off the shoulder to Eccles as Bob Eccles, ball inside, and that ball still alive there as the fullback came up. Thought Eccles would have been better to give that to the centre, but Barrow putting the pressure on as Atkinson once again. Kavanagh, the ball over the top, that's well intercepted there by David Hobbs. Hobbs read that ball very, very well, and Barrow looking a little bit tired now as Northern bring the ball away again. Hamer onto Kebby as Kebby well tackled there as Kebby tried to straighten up and go up the middle. Powell settle things down, just drives the ball forward, makes 10-15 yards up towards the halfway line. Trevor Clark drops the ball back to Watson. Watson dancing about again, lays the ball off to Kebby as Kebby trying to get out of the clutches this time of Singleton, but John Hamer, good run, good drive by Hamer, but it's the last tackle signal by the referee. Clark onto Summers. Summers steps out of one, puts the little chip over the top, but Summers couldn't get between the two players, and Kavanagh sweeping up at the back there, so Barrow back in possession as fullback lynching up again. Petcher, he's had a good game for Barrow this afternoon, as has Pat Traynor. John McMurtry there, scorer of one of the Barrow tries in that first half as Barrow keep the ball alive. That's a good tackle on Robinson on that far side, and it was Daddle Shelford again. Kavanagh, the ball out to Atkinson. Atkinson straightens up, pops the little ball off the shoulder there as the loose forward coming up at pace as Barrow keep this ball alive. Petcher once again linking up there, but good try saving tackle by McGowan as the last tackle signal by the referee as Kavanagh flips the ball over the top, and that'll be Bradford's ball as Brimakebe goes down on that ball as Richard Darks from the acting halfback gets out of one. Just ankle tap there, managed to get back to his feet, but got that ball out to the 20-metre mark. Trevor Clark on to Greenwood. Greenwood just taking the drive up, making 10-15 yards up the park. Watson, a good ball out to Dixon, but Dixon there, well tackled, and Dixon no marker as Paul Dixon sets off, skips out of one. He's got Trevor Clark in support, but good play there by the Bradford second rower. Didn't have a marker. Summers, long ball out to Hobbs. Hobbs puts the kick in over the top. That's a good chase as Shelford goes up. That ball's going to find touch on the 10-metre mark. So Bradford driving Barrow back into their own half of the field. So as we approach the final stages of this game, and Dave Watson awarded the Regal Trophy Man of the Match award this afternoon. That'll be a nice little check for Watson as Barrow come away with the ball from the scrum, but Neil Summers halts the progress there off Kavanagh as Kavanagh had started to set off. Little dart down the blind side there by Phil Everts. He's brought to ground. So Hadley with the little dummy, nice little run round there with trainer, but Hadley electing to hang on to the ball. Didn't hoodwink Roy Powell as Powell wrapped him up. Good driving run by the number 12, Stuart Rhodes, but Barrow looking a little bit jaded now and a little bit tired as the ball switched inside to Eccles. Eccles keeping the ball alive. Hadley. This is good rugby by Barrow as the loose forward chips the ball for the corner. It's going to be a chase between Richard Darks, and Darks taking that ball well. Cutting across there. Brimakebe was also back, but that was good cover by Richard Darks as that ball once again was chipped over the top to try and catch the Bradford defence unawares, but Richard Darks with his speed getting across and putting that ball to ground as Dave Watson restarts from underneath the post. That's a good drop out up to the halfway line as the Bradford chasers come up. Kavanagh once again looking to run at the Bradford defence, but Roy Powell round the legs. Trevor Clark smothering the ball, bring the Barrow scrum half to ground. The ball switched to Trainer looking to offload, and Trevor Clark was there with open arms. If that ball had come out, Clark would have had the interception, but Barrow a little bit disjointed now. The players not coming running, but Kavanagh keeping the ball alive. This is good football once again by Barrows. The ball out to the wing, but Daryl Shelford getting across once again. A good, effective smother tackle. Once again, it's that little chip through, but picked up well by Neil Summers then. The Barrow crowd appealing for a knock on there by the Bradford standoff as Watson sets off from acting halfback. Watson finally hauled down there, but David Hobbs dips the shoulder, but a good tackle on Hobbs there by Stuart Rhodes. Northern moving the ball out wide with McGowan. McGowan drops a good ball off. Richard Darks in the clear. Darks is going through the gap, but once again, try-saving tackle there by Graham Petcher as Darks linked up from fullback. John Hamer driving up towards the post. Bradford on the Barrow 20-metre mark now. Trevor Clark. Clark's got Roy Powell. Offloads to Powell as Powell flips the ball back inside, and once again a wild pass there by Roy Powell, putting the ball to ground, and that's safely taken by Singleton. So the Bradford attack halted with that final pass just going to ground there as Barrow looked to bring the ball away. David Hobbs and Rhodes, and obviously a little bit of heated exchanges. I think that spilled over from that last tackle by Rhodes on David Hobbs, and refereeing very, very quickly there to sort the problem out, pull the players apart. And it'll be Rhodes and Hobbs, the two players that are pulled out by the referees, just having a word with his linesman. Barrow 8, Bradford Northern 28 as we approach the final stages of this second round of the Regal Trophy. And obviously it's not the two props that he's pulling out. The linesman must have seen something else, and it was Mike Kavanagh just getting a ticking off for the referee as David Hobbs is called across by Mr. Nicholson. So David Hobbs just getting a ticking off there from the referee, and the resulting penalty going to Barrow. Barrow fine touch on the halfway line. So Bradford coming up again as Bob Eccles managing to offload that ball in the tackle. That's a good tackle. That ball coming out in the tackle there. Referee waves play on as Shelford gets the ball from Dave Watson. And and this game just warming up in the dying minutes of this game as David Hobbs drives in again and goes down under a tackle of 3 Barrow players, and referee judging there that David Hobbs knocked the ball on as he went down under a welter of tackles there. So of course that'll be the head and ball to Barrow. So once again the Northern attack breaks down. So Barrow with the ball, he's picked up by the loose forward. That's a nice little move round the short side. That's good running as Roy Powell. Good tackle by Roy Powell, and that ball finally going to ground there, but that'll be a knock on. But referee giving the first knock on as Daddle Shelford came up with that ball. So it's going to be head and ball to Barrow there as the referee are judging that Barrow weren't the culprits of that knock on. But that was a good tackle by Roy Powell on the winger as the winger was in full flight. Barrow come again with Trainer, but Trainer electing to go down the middle. Haul down there by Daddle Shelford. Been my man of the match this afternoon for his defence and his attack. So Hadley from the acting halfback, the ball out to Atkinson, on to Kavanagh as Kavanagh spins round, but Kavanagh this time, nobody coming running off the ball as John Hamer finally throws him to ground. Bob Eccles on the drive up to the 20-metre mark, and Eccles lost the ball there in the tackle as Trevor Clark appealed. Bradford coming up with the ball there with John Hamer. So down we go to scrum on that 20-metre mark. Is this Bradford's last attack of the afternoon as Paul Dixon picked that ball up from behind the pack. Dave Watson going on the dummy run, but no more progress for Bradford Northern or Barrow. So Bradford, 3 tries in that first half, 2 in the second half. A little bit disappointing for Bradford Northern. We could have done with probably 1 or 2 more points on the board this afternoon, but the main thing, Bradford Northern going to that draw tomorrow morning. Final score from Craven Park, Barrow 8, Bradford Northern 28.